semuanya. Em, Selamat bergabung sama kita di sini.
Oke, kalau masih menunggu, masih banyak yang jadi ini untuk peserta yang masih ngantri nih kayaknya nih.
Oke, cek.
Oke, kita mulai aja. Kayaknya udah 10
Oke.
menit. Apa-apa sambil berjalan nanti yang masuk bisa di filter.
Siap. Monggo.
Oke, selamat siang semua.
Oke, siang. Sebentar. Oke. Selamat siang teman-teman yang udah datang ke sini. Terima kasih juga udah mau datang ke acara ngobarnya Global Asia Sinergi. Kok ketawa dah tuh baru mulai. Kita di sini akan ngobrolin sedikit dengan topik stay ahead of the technology curve to secure your IT remote workforce. Sebelumnya nih sebelum kita mulai nih, saya mau kenalin dulu tim-tim siapa aja yang akan andil di acara ngobar ini. Pertama dengan saya Yuda Pranata, ada teman saya juga yang namanya Raymond Kurniawan.
Oh, halo semuanya.
Ya, di sini
Raymond
juga.
Kurniawan.
Ya, di sini juga ada Pak Lauren.
Halo semuanya, salam kenal.
Oke. Kita perkenalin dulu nih, mungkin ada yang belum tahu Global Asia Sinergi. Global Asia Sinergi sendiri bergerak di bidang IT Service Management dan Automation Expert. Sudah berdiri sejak 2012. Ini ada list customer kita. Kita ada di beberapa perbankan, di oil and gas, dan ada di law and firms juga.
Untuk
Oke, lanjut.
Sorry ininya. Oke, monggo silakan Bang Raymond.
Nah, ini untuk aturan ngobar, mungkin yang para veteran ngobar nih udah pada paham nih untuk aturan ngobar. Kita harus aktif selama acara, dilarang pasif juga, dan dilarang boring apalagi bete itu nggak boleh. Tapi untuk partisipan yang mungkin baru pertama kali ngikutin acara ngobar, mungkin bisa mengganti namanya dengan format nama perusahaan, lalu diikuti dengan nama teman-teman sendiri gitu. Mungkin bisa dirubah dulu untuk memudahkan kita dalam hal pencatatan dan dokumentasi begitu. Untuk interaksinya, teman-teman boleh nih langsung melalui chatbox atau hal-hal yang mungkin ingin ditanyakan kepada spesial guest kita yang telur 3 atau telur 4 ya, spesial kan. Jadinya bisa langsung open mic atau klik chat aja di chatbox begitu. Nah, ini untuk teman-teman sendiri kan di masa pandemi ini kita belum bisa nih ketemu secara fisik, baru bisa nih ketemu virtual begini.
Ngopinya ngopi virtual ya?
Ngopi virtual nih ya.
Iya.
Kita juga ngirim kasih dana OVO untuk membeli kopi, mungkin kopi virtual lah ya. Tapi dengan persyaratan mungkin teman-teman harus pasti sudah melakukan registrasi
dulu. Baik.
Lalu mengikuti jalannya ngobar dari awal sampai akhir, jangan di skip ya. Lalu dari teman-teman ini diharap, ini poin penting nih untuk biar OVO-nya cair. Boleh dicairin ke saya juga nggak apa-apa.
Aduh, ini emang dasar yang repot nih. Kebanyakan maunya itu. Ya.
Untuk mengisi form feedback di akhir acara ngobar ini, mungkin bisa diisi setelah mengisi form feedback, mendaftarkan nomor OVO atas nama sendiri, jangan nama tetangga ya, atas nama teman-teman sendiri gitu. Oke, untuk pendistribusiannya nanti akan didistribusikan secara bertahap gitu.
Yes.
Nah, untuk cara mengikuti nguis atau yang biasa kita sebut ngobar kuis. Gitu. Nah, mengikuti acara Ngobar, lalu masuk ke dalam menti.com sesuai dengan arahan. Nah, nanti saya arahkan untuk kode QR-nya atau kode di dalam websitenya. Lalu pemenang yang menjawab kuis dengan kecepatan dan ketepatan akan diberikan poin lebih. Jadi teman-teman harap untuk tangannya cepat dalam mengetik atau mengeklik di handphone karena poinnya tergantung pada kecepatan tangan. Nah, ini pemenang di peringkat 1 akan mendapat Rp500.000, peringkat 2 300, peringkat 3-nya 200. Tapi peringkat keempat belum dan seterusnya belum dapat, maaf. Dapatnya kopi.
Suara harapan itu.
Suara harapan belum dapat nih.
Oh,
Yang
iya.
selalu diharap-harapkan ya, Pak.
Iya.
Kan bisa nanti di satu lagi. Nah, di sini.
Iya. Nah, ini yang di akhir acara nanti ada door prize menarik nih. Akan menggunakan
Apa tuh?
Wheel of Name, smartwatch.
Smartwatch gimana tuh, Mon?
Bisa tuh, saya juga dapat nih sebenarnya.
Maunya.
Tapi nggak boleh nih karyawan. Aduh.
Nggak boleh. Itu ada note-nya tuh di pojok kiri itu. Lihat.
Iya. Nah, door prize akan diundi nanti, tapi untuk di dalam 3 panggilan pemenang tidak menjawab, maka akan dinyatakan gugur dan diundi ulang.
Yes.
Nah, untuk selanjutnya, nah ini yang di awal nih.
Ya, monggo ini kita ngadain menti dulu nih.
Kita menti dulu nih, simple polling dulu.
Ya.
Pasti
Di-scan
yang
dulu
lama
tuh.
dan biasa,
Teman-teman
ya.
boleh di-scan lewat handphone. Untuk
atau masuk ke www.menti.com.
Menti.com, masukin kodenya.
Masukin kodenya.
Betul.
Ya.
Oke. Boleh di-scan terlebih dahulu untuk mentinya atau lewat handphone. Bisa.
Masih terus nih yang masuk.
Iya, masih banyak yang masuk nih.
Tunggu dulu dah ini
ngopi
untuk
bareng.
Iya.
Ngobrol bareng.
Kita tunggu dulu ini untuk simple polling, takut yang lain ketinggalan nanti. Oke.
Udah kelihatan, Mon. Udah ada yang scan.
Oke, saya cek. Mungkin. Nah, ini nih.
Wah, udah kelihatan.
Udah ada yang menerapkan sistem tiketing ya untuk polling. Mungkin saya kembali lagi ke slide berikutnya. Takut ada yang belum scan atau gimana. Baru 20 orang dari 60 orang. Masih sisa 40 orang.
Buat teman-teman yang mungkin bingung gimana sih cara ikutin pollingnya, itu teman-teman bisa scan dari handphone langsung. Itu ada QR code di situ. Atau misalkan buat teman-teman yang pakai laptop males ngeluarin handphone, bisa langsung diketik di browsernya tuh di www.menti.com, terus masukin kodenya tuh 62114754. Nanti teman-teman akan dipresentkan dengan sebuah polling yang nanti teman-teman bisa isi. Silakan.
Tuh. Baru 24 orang. Oke, terus teman-teman butuh partisipasinya agar, nah untuk menjawab nambah 2 nih.
Sepertinya ngantri juga nih Kang untuk poolingnya juga nih.
Ya, Mon, bagian karcisnya yang benar ya, Mon. Itu soalnya jadi ngantrinya berantakan tuh.
Oh iya, ini sistem apa, pintunya kayaknya kurang lebar ini.
Iya.
Belum ada backsoundnya Pak. Nanti kalau kita quiz ada backsoundnya Pak.
Oh iya, ditunggu.
Adrian nanya, kalau saya ada backsoundnya nih.
Oh, itu veteran-veteran yang nanya ya.
Iya, ini yang udah.
Saya jiper di sini.
Kita mulai ya, lanjut.
Oke, di pollingnya.
Ada 20 orang yang sudah tahu tentang ticketing dan service desk.
20 orang, ya. Tuh. Nah, untuk
pertanyaan selanjutnya
yang digunakan oleh teman-teman nih untuk melakukan support, biasanya kan banyak komputer di dalam satu perusahaan teman-teman nih, pasti banyak masalah juga dong yang terjadi. Jadi tools apa nih yang udah digunakan oleh teman-teman untuk melakukan remote support atau supporting untuk mengatur mungkin ribuan PC, bahkan menghandle lebih dari 1000.
Banyak sih. Wah, belum ada.
Ada yang
Oh,
belum
custom
ada.
program.
Custom program.
Iya.
Oke, lanjut. Baru 2 orang nih.
Iya. Ayo coba
Coba apa nih tools
lagi.
yang sudah digunakan? Oh, ada yang
Yes.
Oke.
Aplikasi internet. Ada TIC.
Baik, VNC. Oke.
VNC. Ada yang gratisan. Waduh. Apa tuh yang gratisan tuh?
Oh, ada Kaseya, siap.
Siap.
yang Kaseya itu siapa itu?
Itu
Iya,
siapa
yang pakai Kaseya itu ya?
Siapa yang pakai? Ngaku nih harusannya. Anydex.
Oh, paling banyak kayaknya Anydex ya nih.
Anydex
nih.
Firmware Anydex. Oke. Yuk, untuk yang belum menjawab, mungkin tools apa yang mungkin kita bisa memberikan solusi, bisa membantu teman-teman untuk ya mempermudah pekerjaan teman-teman dalam mensupport. Baru 20 orang. Mungkin teman-teman yang baru masuk boleh scan di sini.
Ulang, iya, buat ikutan Mentimeternya juga.
Betul.
Bisa langsung ke sini ya, ke website ini.
Yes.
Langsung ke website ya, betul.
Masukin kodenya.
Kodenya masukkan. Oke, 22 orang. Harddisk obeng dan lain-lain. Oke.
Wah, itu. Harddisk obeng itu, aduh.
Seperti ini nih sepertinya.
Ya benar sih, pertanyaannya nggak salah itu. Kalau pakai tang juga bisa sebenarnya.
Atau thermal paste ini kalau CPU panas.
Aduh.
Oke, cukup.
Cukup. Oke. Ya. Jadi teman-teman di sini
jadi Pak mau pakai
terpakainya Openg buat buka casingnya doang.
Iya, Pak.
Benar. Oke. Nah, nextnya. Nah,
di sini hari ini nih Ngobar ini acara Ngobar sekarang ini mungkin ada sedikit perbedaan ya. Kita kedatangan tamu spesial nih dari Asia Pasifik, Kaseya Asia Pasifik. Di sini ada Mr. Pravin Prabu dan ada Mr. John Rai. Mr. Pravin Prabu ini adalah Director of Sales and Partner Management Kaseya Asia Pasifik, dan John Rai Team Lead Sales Engineering dari Kaseya Asia Pasifik juga. Hai, Mr. Pravin. Hai, Mr. John.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yes. Oke. Di sini nanti Mr. Pravin dan Mr. John akan menjelaskan sedikit tentang topik hari ini, yaitu Stay Ahead of Technology Curve to Secure Your IT Remote Workforce. Jadi
akan nyambung sama yang tadi ya, yang di Menti tadi sudah kita dikit-dikit keluarin tuh, mungkin bakal menyinggung ke situ ya, Kang.
Ya, betul. Ya, betul. Nanti akan nyambung-nyambung lah sama hal-hal yang tadi udah ditanya di Mentimeter itu ya.
Apakah nyambung dengan kuisnya juga nih?
Waduh.
Topiknya apakah nyambung nih? Apakah?
Ya, mungkin nyambung nanti sama kuisnya juga nih. Nah, jadi tolong didengerin aja ya.
Pertanyaan sulit nih sepertinya kuisnya.
Untuk teman-teman nanti kalau misalkan ada yang bertanya, silahkan aja di chat saja. Nanti kita kumpulin, nanti bisa kita ada sesi Q&A, bisa kita nanti ditanya jawab langsung di sesi after live demo mungkin. Tapi kalau ada beberapa pertanyaan yang bisa kita jawab di chat, mungkin nanti kita bahas di chat.
Okay. For Mr. Pravin, you can start the presentation right now, maybe.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You can take over the share screen.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Let me share my screen.
Okay. Thank you.
Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, we're good to go?
Yes.
All good.
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining this webinar. So in this session, we're going to find out how unified endpoint management is the solution to streamlining management of next generation devices, ranging from virtual machines to on-prem and even in the cloud. Now, this will secure your hybrid and your work from home workforce. We're also going to learn how you can leverage your unified endpoint management solution for managing all endpoints and devices and all environments, including cloud, hybrid, work from home, from all in a single console. Discovery, topology, mapping, and monitoring of all endpoints and devices. So this is broadly how we're going to cover this particular webinar. Moving on to the next slide. All right, so this is me. I head sales for APAC in Kaseya, and I also have John Roy, who is the team lead for sales engineering, who will be covering the demo sessions later on during this presentation. This is how the agenda is looking like for this presentation. We will try to keep this as brief as possible, focus being more on the demo so that you get to see live as to how the product functions. All right, let's talk about how 2022 was for all of us. Not a good year for most of us, right? So we've gone through Herculean tasks, especially for the IT teams who really had to stretch it out for more than 18 hours a day, managing their clients, their workforce, and in a hybrid setup. Now, the challenges predominantly were patching and antivirus, antivirus and malware deployments and managements across all of the IT systems. Now, most of the legacy business applications being in the office, we all went through a sudden lockdown with no access to corporate information. Communication was a challenge. Most often than not, we've had issues with old laptops in our network, and pulling these old laptops was also a concern. Now, MSPs in the business, they had to set their customers up via VPNs, transformation to cloud, O365, SFTC, to leverage most of the SaaS-based applications. Now, this brought a whole lot of work to the MSPs, on the other side. Now, this, of course, led to the sudden outburst or adaptation to collaboration tools like Zoom, Slack, and Teams. Now, all of this came together, and we had a Herculean task of maintaining a workforce which was, working all remote, and there were some workforces that were asked to come to the office. Now, that's where the hybrid model came into play. Now, as per the poll stats, 55% of the workforce preferred a hybrid model where they could work 3 days at home and the rest come into the office. But the management of firms felt otherwise. They would want their workforce to come to the office 3 days and work 2 days from home. So that came up with the evolution of a hybrid workforce, right? So we had to develop our systems to accommodate the hybrid work from home model. Now, reopening offices while still supporting remote users doesn't mean that our IT engineers had to work 18 hours a day like the way they were working earlier. Now, all that meant was to bring better operational efficiency. It's not only working from home, it's also working from public places, remote offices, folks traveling. Now, this brought about two important criteria. One being security, which is firewall protection, policy management, and the other being mobility, where you're expected to access data anytime, anywhere. So these were the two important factors that we have to adapt to while having the hybrid work from home kind of a setup. Now, what I would like to talk to you about over here is the IT Komplit suite. This is the IT management platform that Kaseya has built as a one-stop shop for all of the IT requirements. A single platform for every IT need, being cost effective and integrated so that you can get IT done. Now, most of you are aware of Kaseya, but for the folks who are not, Kaseya is an entirely different IT software company. We don't build for specialists. We build for generalists, or what we call multi-function IT professionals. We have a solution for virtually every need, and each of those solutions are independently capable and best of breed, and also is very cost optimized. However, the true potential of our platform is in how well the components work together to help the overburdened technicians of a typical small IT department, where getting more done by integrating the steps of their workflow. So this is what I'm going to cover in my presentation at a very high level as to what is it that we can expect from IT Komplit. You see the stats over here. So we've taken 3 components: CSAT, customer satisfaction, the efficiency, and of course, the cost optimization. In fact, our SMB IT customers have earned 74% increase in their user base satisfaction because they were able to offer everything their small businesses and users needed, from endpoint management to compliance to backup to security, BCDR, all of these things that is required for remote infrastructure management. And the efficiency gains over here, 25% increase in efficiency gains, all because the IT Komplit platform that we're talking about is integrated, which allows a lot of tasks to be automated and thus saving that many man hours. There is also a 33% increase in cash generations, resulting in a direct budget relief. Now, all of this put together, in short, Kaseya customers pay less and get more done, enabling them to grow both profit and to better service their users. Now, I will briefly touch upon 3 important, components in the IT Komplit platform. There's an elaborate presentation for the entire suite, but due to the time constraints, I will just stick to 3, which we call as trifactor. First, the bread and butter of all IT management, remote endpoint management. There's been an explosion over the last decade, and it is spiked again in just the last year. The number and complexity of devices being used by small and medium business employees. This has definitely increased the need for automation. Since technicians can't possibly keep up with more than twice as much as work to do, we'll need a more robust and proficient system for remote endpoint management. We are looking at 2 major components in any uRMM solution. And then in the Kaseya VSA, it's being comprehensive and has to be highly automated. Now, comprehensive because it's working across multiple platforms. So interoperability is done at ease. And automation, well, you will need to have your uRMM solution automated with the other systems that are collaborating, be it your ticketing tool or be it your documentation tool. The VSA uRMM tool is highly automated and and seamlessly integrated with the other systems that enable you to cover all of the components pertaining to remote infrastructure management. All of that is customer facing, right? Directly serving the needs of the businesses you serve. But there's also the tool you need to serve yourself. Managing IT tasks effectively means having an integrated job ticketing system to accept, assign, and remediate issues. Unfortunately, some solutions are expensive, don't integrate well with their, so-called RMM solutions or tools, and functionally, extremely slow and, not user-friendly at all. So it will just not comply to the way you would want to function. Kaseya solutions are just the opposite. All of the functionality you need is deeply integrated with the VSA RMM solution, the IT documentation tool, that is, IT Glue, and the other services, so you can accept jobs, fix and remediate the issues, and close tickets, all in one seamlessly integrated process. That's where we talk about Borex, our IT ticketing management solution. Now, with all of the rising complexities and the availability of fewer technicians and an overwhelming increase in total IT demand, documentation is key. It's more critical than ever before, the need to have a robust documentation tool. Whereas most small business technicians waste as much as 20% of their technical work time just simply hunting down information on change or updates or any kind of password changes, right? Just documentation or searching for relevant documentation pertaining to that particular incident takes 20% of their effective tech time. Now, getting this time back is key. Getting more done with less is the need of the hour. So we've integrated IT Glue deeply across our entire platform so you can get the information you need when and where you need it. And all of this is done without having to leave the task that you're currently trying to complete. So all of it is just done on a single pane without having to, disrupt the ticket, which is currently open. All right, operational efficiency, right? This is where we plug all of these three amazing products into one, which we call as trifactor, right? The RMM solution, VSA, the IT documentation tool, which is the IT Glue, and of course, the service desk, the ticketing tool, Borex. Kaseya solves the efficiency problem with a set of integrated solutions that I just spoke about. And all of this is seamlessly integrated, giving you a one-stop shop for your remote infrastructure management. VSA, which is again an agent-based technology that allows you to manage all endpoints across multiple platforms, right? Be it Windows, be it Linux, or be it Mac. So it's all supported across these platforms. You monitor your endpoints, you monitor performance issues, hard disk filling up, services not starting, application monitoring, patch management. Thank you. Patch management across the platforms that I just spoke about, third-party application integration, so that the intent over here is to have uniform patching across all of the endpoints. Now, policy management, again, pushing the right policy to the respective endpoints is also key and critical in any kind of RMM solution. We've recently added agentless-based monitoring, right, on a single platform to see all printers, switches, firewalls, and endpoint management solution, all in one console, right? So that's the efficiency of our RMM solution, the VSA tool. Now let's quickly talk about BMS. Now, BMS, is used to identify and log issues and also log the time that is spent against, addressing all of these tickets. Integration with VSA to create monitoring alerts, issue ticketing, remote access to endpoints. We've also built some really cool, sophisticated workflows, which seamlessly integrates with the other tools, that is VSA, the RMM solution, and IT Glue, the IT documentation tool. Now, John is going to do a deep dive into the system so that you folks can actually see how the integration works across these multiple tools that we're talking about. Now, I definitely want to talk a little bit about our documentation tool, that is IT Glue, which captures information like password, domain registration, certification, topology, network topology mapping. All of these are available on both the platforms, which allows you to see contextual information for the tasks that are being performed. Like you get to automate your configuration. The ticket handling is based on the workflows that have been built. So if at all a technician wants to get involved, he gets to see all of the relevant information pertaining to that particular incident or that particular endpoint that we're trying to consider over here. With VSA, BMS, works in this instance, VSA, Borex, and IT Glue, you gain the freedom to work efficiently with this, trifactor that we're talking about. With less time spent jumping from one tool to the other and having all of the contextual information that you need as and when you need it, right? So let me, quickly walk you through the remaining aspects of how each of these systems work. It's going to be very brief though. uRMM, Unified RMM solution, manages all devices, not only desktops, manages laptops and servers as well. And of course, your VMs and, to be agile, we promote, technicians to be agile and to be efficient on the go. Even mobile devices are covered in the RMM we're talking about. VSA will be the core for all integrations to run all patches and policy management updates. It offers deep integrations to other products. Since it's the core of the trifactor, that we're trying to cover over here, VSA will push out and in all functionalities from other ticketing tools or documentation management tools as well, right? So, the integration aspect that I spoke about, it works seamlessly and effectively with our tools and also the tools that are available in the market. uRMM also means managing all IT environments, be it cloud, be it on-prem, or even being a hybrid kind of a setup. And of course, the new norm, the hybrid work from home. So it covers all of those aspects. To sum this up, we talk about a highly efficient, highly automated system with effective workflow integrations, which are built across the other platforms that we would want to consider in a unified RMM setup. Now, the two types of remote endpoint management, right? We talk about Live Connect, we talk about direct or remote connect. Now, Live Connect, I'm sure most of you are aware of the Live Connect feature in VSA. It works behind the scenes, right? So your end user wouldn't even know that there's a technician working behind and trying to fix the issue that's been raised, or a concern or an incident that's been ticketed. Now you get access to your CPU configuration, your memory utilization, all of the user-based information is also accessed, and all of it is happening behind, not disrupting the end business user. Now you can run agent-based procedures all in the background. The other remote control that I wanted to cover is the remote control, which is a direct console access to, be it a shared session or even a private session in a remote control, access to your endpoint. Now, the VSA tool, Kaseya's VSA tool, also provides live connect for your Linux platforms. So we have already extended this feature onto Macs and Windows platform. Now, even Linux is covered. Now, doing a little bit more a deep dive on the IT automation, it allows you to, the configuration of your endpoints, so maintenance of tasks, patching, remediating, monitoring alerts. And for example, if your hard drive fills up, a script is run to clean and the temp directory, which in turn brings back the system into compliance. Now, over here, I would like to cover 2 layers of automation that is built inside the platforms. One is a UI-based automation, where there is no scripting knowledge that is required. And the other is an agent-based procedure, which is inbuilt into the platforms that I just covered. A couple of years ago, we also built something called as Automation Exchange, which is a free repository. It has a whole lot of Kaseya content in terms of scripts, policies. So, what happens over here is that it eases the use of where the customer can, leverage the existing content, and really they needn't have to build anything. Both from the Kaseya standpoint, and of course, there's a whole lot of contribution coming in from the communities as well. So that's the Automation Exchange that I would like to cover over here. One of the key factors over here in IT automation is policy management. Where you consistently are pushing relevant policies to bring back endpoints into compliance and to also handle their exceptions. In a scenario where a system hasn't been patched for a while, it falls into a completely different policy management, with an aggressive patch management being pushed into that endpoint to bring the endpoint back into compliance. This can be easily handled because it's highly automated. So there's no manual intervention over here. Okay, so that's with the IT documentation. Now, the other aspect over here is the way we auto remediate the tickets, right? I think this is one of the coolest things that we have as a feature functionality in the product. You can set up monitoring in VSA to automatically create a ticket when there's an alert on an endpoint or any other network device which is in the port. Then you can also set up a workflow, and the service desk solution works in this case to execute a VSA agent procedure to remediate the incident that's being highlighted. If VSA monitoring creates a ticket with, for example, a load disk space, a service desk workflow can automatically execute a VSA agent-based procedure to clear this disk space when it sees this ticket. All of this is, again, highly automated. Right. So we just covered some aspects of the automation component in VSA. Now, integration with the documentation tool. It allows, us to sync all of the agents from the endpoint, the configuration of the agent from the IT Glue documentation. So crisscrossing across the systems becomes easy. If we were on the system and there was an incident, it's easy to switch over, run a script, run Live Connect, to run the troubleshooting procedures without having to get away or log off the IT documentation tool. So the ease of interoperability between these solutions is primary over here. Over here again, we also have the Live Connect integrated with IT Glue. And this will give us the content that is relevant from the IT documentation tool back to the engineers. We also have the ability to seamlessly drive into IT Glue with just a click, allowing us to do a deep dive into that particular configuration without having to sign into another tool or a platform. See, in this given age and time, confinement of technicians in the office is not going to be that optimal. So folks are going to be on the move, visiting clients in updating systems and troubleshooting issues. With Kaseya's Fusion mobile app, which is built on both iOS and Android, the objective here is to allow you to function on mobile devices of your choice. From a VSA standpoint, it gives you all the Live Connect functionality, services, and all of the benefits that you would require to remotely control all of your endpoints, all from a mobile device. And it not only allows you to monitor, but it also allows you to troubleshoot from your handheld devices. Now, this, as I said earlier, is highly integrated. Now, it's highly integrated on your mobile platform as well, into your ticketing system, if you're using BMS, and also allows you to update the ticket and allows you to change the status, priority logs, and the time that you spent resolving this ticket. All of it is done using your handheld. Right, and hence we have enabled all of these key functionality, feature functionalities that you require from the three systems, right? Be it VSA, be it Forex, be it IT Glue, all of it is done on your mobile device through a simple app, which is called Kaseya Mobile Fusion app, making your tech teams as agile as possible. Right, so with this, I will hand off the session for this webinar to John, who will quickly, give us a demo and show us, upfront to how these products function. John, over to you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Praveen, for setting up the stage for me to take the audience through the live presentation of our trifecta, that's VSA, Vorex, and IT Glue. So I have shared the screen if any one of the panelists could confirm whether they are able to view it so that I can get started right away.
It's all good, John. I can see it.
All right, perfect. Now, as Praveen apprised during his slide deck presentation, that VSA is our flagship product and VSA is agent-based. Now, there are a few different ways in which the agents can be installed. If the machines are in the network, I can do a network harvest and can discover the devices and install the agents on them. If the machines are in the same domain, however, they are in a different network, I could do a domain harvest. And once again, I can go ahead and install the agents on the endpoints. Last but not the least, in today's day and age, wherein there is a hybrid workforce environment, wherein most of the people are working from home and few individuals are in office, in that situation, to manage and monitor the endpoints that are lurking isolated, or those isolated devices, I could go ahead and send across the agent package as a link in an email. And once the end user clicks on that particular link, the agent package will get downloaded and installed automatically, silently behind the scene itself. Now, once the agent will get installed on any particular endpoint, it will be classified from an unmanaged to a managed machine. Now, the maximum amount of time that an administrator is going to spend in VSA is in the agent section. So once I go to the agent tab, I would get to see all the endpoints on which the agents are installed, which will be classified now as my managed endpoints. We do have the flexibility of filtering it down based on machine groups, and these machine groups could be classified as different branch offices, locations, departments, organizational units, and we can go as deep as 5 levels of hierarchy. Further to this, we could also go ahead and configure views, and these views are set to be technology views. So apart from filtering the machines that I am managing based on a certain entity or an organizational unit, if I want to specifically have a look at, let's say, servers that I'm managing for a specific organization, I could further use the technology view to filter them down and get the data that I'm looking for. Now, once the agent gets installed on any particular endpoint, it becomes completely color-coded. So the administrator would get to know whether the agent has checked in or not. So over here, gray means that the agent is offline and it hasn't checked into the central Kaseya server. Green means the agent is online. It is checked into the Kaseya server. There is a persistent connection that's been established, but user is not logged in. With a yellow face means user is logged in but inactive for last 10 minutes. And with a blue face means that the user is logged in and active. Now, to remote into a particular system, I just need to hover over the system mouse pointer on any particular endpoint on which the agent is installed and click on remote control. Now, once I click on remote control, in the next 5 to 10 seconds, I would remote into that particular endpoint. Once I have established remote control, I can get to see the latency that's involved. If there are multiple monitors, I could even toggle between the displays and get to see the applications that's launched on them. But do keep in mind, this is console-based, meaning whatever I click over here, even the end user would also get to see it. Apart from this, we've also provided the functionality to record the screen sharing session for audit and compliance purpose. And this is completely configurable based on the server or the workstation wherein you are going ahead and establishing remote control. Apart from this, pasting to clipboard so that you can go ahead and paste complex passwords instead of typing it at the login screen, SQL queries, procedural instructions, so on and so forth. We've also provided one-click functionality as well. So this is specifically going to be helpful in case if I am planning to go ahead and remote into a domain controller. However, the domain administrator is on a lunch break. Being a domain administrator, he is skeptic and apprehensive in providing the domain credentials to the technician who will be troubleshooting at any particular issue related to the DC. So at that point of time, instead of waiting for the domain administrator to be back at his desk and wasting my precious time, what I could do is I could go ahead and start a one-click session. Now, this is going to automatically log me in to that particular device on which the agent is installed as a Kaseya administrator, or in other words, the username is going to be kadmin, and the password is going to be completely hashed out. It's a random password that gets generated and no one gets to know about it. Now, the time to live for that password is time to live for the session itself, meaning next time I establish a one-click session, once again, a random password gets generated. Now, last but not the least, from a remote control perspective, we've also provided the functionality of drag and drop as well, meaning at any given point of time, if I want to transfer a particular file, I would not have to send it across over an email or upload it on the FTP share, so on and so forth. All I need to do is drag and drop it from the host onto the target, and the file is going to reside at this particular location. And from here, if required, I could go ahead and transfer it to a desired directory of my own. So this was one way of establishing remote. Now, the other way is using Live Connect. So the difference between remote control and Live Connect is, as Praveen had apprised, remote control is console-based. But Live Connect works behind the scene itself, wherein the end user will not get to realize what exactly the tech is doing on that specific endpoint. This is specifically going to be helpful in case if I do not want to disrupt the day in, day out life of the end user, or if the end user is working on some mission critical projects, which is of utmost importance. Rather than establishing a remote control, I can start troubleshooting behind the scene itself using Live Connect. Now, once I establish Live Connect, I would get to see the entire asset summary, which comprises of all this information. I could also get to see the asset info, documents, any type of logs, scripts that's been executed, software that's installed, and user accounts that's created as well. I could establish shared or a private session, or even establish one-click access as well, the one that I spoke about a few minutes before. We could also get to see files based on volumes as well. So let's say, for instance, I want to drill down and have a look at the contents of C drive, can drill down to it, get to see the relevant files and folders. And if required, I could download, delete, move, make a copy, as well as rename them. I can also upload files or folders from my local system as well. We could also execute command lines as well as PowerShell commands. So at this point of time, if I just type in who am I get to see that I'm logged in with highest system privilege, that's NT-authority/system. It's the same level of access with which the agent is going to get installed. I would also get to see the services that's running on this specific machine, and if required, can start, stop, or disable them the way we do it from services.msc console. Even get to see the processes that's running. And in case if any particular process is consuming huge amount of memory or CPU, I could also kill the process or end it the way we do it from taskbar. Now, as this is a backdoor entry that we've provided, I could also drill down to the registry hives and make changes to the registry key if needed, and can also get to see event logs, not only in perspective of application, hardware, or software, but also security events as well. Now, at this point of time, would like to apprise you that as VSA is multi-tenant in nature, I can go ahead and establish as many Live Connect sessions as required. Now, before I move out of Live Connect and talk about the other bells and whistles of within VSA at a very high level, during our presentation, or during Praveen's presentation, he highlighted an aspect which is one of the core functionalities of Trifecta, wherein IT Glue gets integrated with VSA. Now, at any given point of time, if I'm a technician and I have established on a domain controller, now prior going ahead and troubleshooting on that domain controller using the backdoor access that I have been given privilege to, if I would want to have a look at certain SOPs, procedural instruction, documents, any specific passwords, I would not have to log into IT Glue or switch between the applications. With the help of cohesive workflow that we do have amongst VSA, IT Glue, and Vorex, at any given point of time, I can just click on the IT Glue icon, would get to see all the relevant attachments, embedded passwords, any specific notes, as well as the version history of the documents as well, and any other related items that is prevalent in IT Glue pertaining to this specific endpoint on which I have established a Live Connect session. Now, for instance, at any given point of time, I would want to get access to the admin password. All I need to do is I just need to click on admin password. It is going to log me in directly to IT Glue, specifically to that particular attribute on which I have clicked, and it is going to take me down to that specific configuration item which has been configured in IT Glue itself. So in other words, we are making the technicians more efficient by saving their time. Now, proceeding further, when we are talking about VSA, patch management is an integral part of VSA, and that's where software management comes into the picture. Now, once I go to software management, I would be presented by a dashboard, which is going to let me know the total number of vulnerabilities, number of machines that's vulnerable, percentage of machines that's vulnerable, so on and so forth. Now, over here, I wanted to spend a minute or so talking specifically about a couple of these dashlets, which says percentage of machines that's vulnerable and percentage of machines that's in or out of compliance. Now, being an administrator, it's my foremost responsibility to make sure that all the machines are patched and up to date so that there is no security leakage within the organization, or if the machines are patched and up to date, I will be well covered in terms of security breach. Now, at any given point of time, if I would want to have a look at all the relevant machines, that's vulnerable. And do keep in mind, when we talk about the word vulnerable, in Kaseya land, it means that the systems are not patched and up to date. So if I want to have a look at all those relevant machines at a glance, I would not have to leave the software management module and switch to reports to get that information. All I need to do is click on the blue section of the pie chart, would get to see all the relevant machines which are not patched and up to date, the number of patches that needs to get updated, along with the last time that they were scanned, and a successful deployment occurred as well. Now, another aspect from an IT perspective, or being an IT personnel managing and monitoring systems for an organization, is to make sure that all these machines are in compliance, so that if I am getting audited by a third-party external auditor, I will not be liable in paying huge amount and hefty fines. And one way to do that is to make sure that all my systems are patched and up to date, so that they are not exposed to any outside or inside threats, and they are no longer vulnerable. Now, if I would want to have a look at all the relevant machines that's out of compliance, meaning that they are not patched and up to date, all I need to do is click on the green section of the pie chart. It is going to list out more or less the same systems which are not patched and up to date. What is the reason that they are non-compliant? So being an administrator, I would make sure that all these relevant machines, which are not only vulnerable, but also out of compliance in terms of patching, are the front runners, so that they are patched at the earliest. And by doing this, I would make sure that my organization is no longer vulnerable to any inside or outside attacks. And also I'm in compliant when it comes to auditing. Now, all these relevant aspects that we have seen, it could be configured through the scan and analysis profile, and then we can configure a deployment profile so that the patches will get installed on those relevant machines. And once these configurations are done, I could just go ahead and assign it to the machines either manually through the machines tab, or all these can be automated through policy management. Now, all these relevant aspects of the service delivery model that we have seen across the board, everything can be automated with the help of policy management. Now, policy management is said to be the heartbeat of VSA, and it could be looked upon as a template or blueprint wherein we configure the template and add or remove the relevant policy objects. And once done, we just need to deploy it on organization or machine groups. And once deployed, the entire IT environment for your organization would completely get automated. Now, to configure policies, you can go to the policies tab on the left-hand side. You can create your templates. And once you add a particular template, you can create your policies, which could be as simple as required, or it could be as sophisticated as needed, by enabling or disabling the relevant policy objects that is required and which is going to be a part of the template. So the analogy is same as that of group policy management. If you are an Active Directory or if you are an AD admin, you have been doing this GPO stuff for a lot of time. So conceptually, it's the same when it as that of GPO. However, group policy objects are more user-centric, wherein Kaseya policy management is more asset-centric. Once the policy is configured, just deploy it on organization or machine groups. And once it's deployed, based on the view that I have selected or the technology view that I've selected while configuring the template, all the relevant machines that belong to that specific organizational unit or that department would automatically inherit the policy, and your entire IT infrastructure will automatically get automated. Not only this, in future, as and when your organization grows in leaps and bounds and you start installing new agents on the relevant machines to manage them or to bring it under the management console, all you need to do is just install the agent on the relevant endpoint, select the machine group which it belongs to, and once the agent will get installed, automatically the policy template that we have created and assigned to a specific organizational unit or a machine group will get executed in the next 30 seconds. So in this way, you would be able to move out of the manual work that you have been doing and can automate your entire IT infrastructure. And this is going to make sure that your entire IT environment is automated. Now, as Praveen apprised that we have library of scripts, so definitely it is our community.it connect, where you could register and sign up and go to Automation Exchange, wherein administrators who are managing VSA for different organizations, as well as we as Kaseya employees have uploaded scripts. You could always download these scripts and import it within VSA to automate the mundane jobs that you're doing on a day in, day out basis. Now, wrapping up VSA is reports. So all the information that we have seen across the board, it needs to be substantiated or validated with the help of reports. Now, when we talk about reports, there are reports that's already pre-configured, but if required, you can create your reports with the help of ad hoc report writer as well. So we spoke about software management in detail or at a very high level. So one of the reports that I would like to present to you is set to be the software management overview, which is going to give me not only a graphical representation of my compliance in terms of patching, but also it is going to break it down based on the relevant machines and the number of patches that needs to get installed on those systems as well in a tabular format. Now, at any given point of time, you can go ahead and download these reports in a PDF format. You can schedule them. And last but not the least, white label with your own company logo as well. Now, with this, moving on to our service desk module, which is Kaseya Vorex. So based on the workflow that we have configured in VSA, as and when an alert will get generated, a ticket gets created in the Vorex module itself. Now, being a tech, once I drill down to that particular ticket, I could add my activities, I can add time, so on and so forth. However, while I'm troubleshooting on that particular ticket, if I would have to look at certain procedural instruction or SOPs related to that endpoint for which the ticket is associated, I would not have to jump or switch into IT Glue. All I need to do is, with the help of cohesive workflow that we do have amongst these three products, click on the IT Glue icon, would get to see all the relevant configuration related documents, the organization to which it belongs, the contacts, and even if it belongs to a certain location as well. In other words, we are saving time for your techs. Last but not the least, let's say, for instance, the agent is installed on a server. There's a patch deployment that happened. However, it failed. With the help of workflow, it created a ticket. I'm working on this particular ticket, but now I would have to establish a remote control session because I need to have a look at what's exactly is happening on that particular machine itself. Once again, I would not have to switch to VSA, search for that specific machine, establish Live Connect, and then remote in. From the ticket itself, I could directly click on Kaseya Live Connect, which is going to establish a backdoor access. And hence, I can go ahead and remote into that specific endpoint. Once again, we are saving time for your technicians and making sure that they are more efficient in performing their day in, day out activity. Last but not the least, the trifecta covers IT Glue as well, which is our documentation hub. Now, as Praveen apprised during his slide deck presentation, IT Glue, apart from being the centralized location for all your documentation, it is also well integrated with both VSA as well as Vorex. So let's say, for example, I am a technician and I am working in IT Glue on and updating some documents for deployment 01, which is one of the servers. Now, at that point of time, if a ticket gets created, I would not have to switch to Vorex to work on that ticket. Directly from IT Glue itself, I can go to the tickets tab over here, would get to see the relevant ticket that is created and can start working on it. In due course of troubleshooting, I realized that I would have to establish a remote control session on that specific endpoint. Once again, I would not have to leave IT Glue as a platform or as an application. From ITG itself, I could simply click on Live Connect. It is going to establish a backdoor access, and hence I can remote into that target endpoint. Last but not the least, if I have to execute certain scripts, let's say it could be deleting the prefetch and temp files, disabling certain keys in the registry, so on and so forth. If I am in IT Glue, and if I'm having a look at a specific configuration or a specific endpoint for which I'm updating documentation, and all of a sudden the ticket ticket requirement is for me to go ahead and execute a script, I would not have to leave the application. From IT Glue itself, I can execute the script, and the outcome of that script will not only get documented as a procedure status in IT Glue, but also based on the workflow that we have configured, the status will get documented as an activity in the ticket as well in Vorex module. So this was an overarching concept of our trifecta named IEVSA, which is for endpoint management and monitoring, Vorex, which takes care of your service desk environment, and IT Glue, which is specifically meant for documentation and streamlining your documentation environment within your IT organization. Now, in case if you do want a more detailed presentation of any or all of these relevant applications with a much deep dive into it, you could always get in touch with our partners in Global Asia Synergy, and we would be more than happy to go ahead and arrange a personalized presentation for you. So with this, I would hand over the reins of the webinar to Praveen for closing remarks, and we will then take up Q&A if there are any. Praveen, all yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. Very impressive. All right, so folks, we are top of the hour. I'm just going to quickly wrap this session with just a couple of slides more. Right, so the other important aspect that I would want to cover as the end, points in this webinar is the need for a BCDR solution, right? BCDR is in many ways an extension of your security, providing a way to undo the worst scenarios while also protecting the critical data of your business. We have seen a steady rise in the perception of this functionality within small businesses, with a 64% increase in demand in just the last year alone. People are realizing that in order to stay compliant, overcome security breaches, or simply maintain businesses, having a fresh, reliable backup solution is essential. Right? That's the need for a BCDR solution. So Kaseya Suite is, of course, comprehensive, covering local and cloud backup to ensure the entire spectrum of business operations is protected both on-prem with appliances or even be it on cloud. And as with the rest of the suite, all at a much more competitive price as compared to the products that are available in the market. That's the power of a comprehensive, integrated, and cost-effective platform. Everything you need woven into one platform with commonality and interface, so you can get IT done. All right, thank you, gentlemen and ladies, of course. That brings me to the end of this presentation. Back to you, folks.
All right, thank you, John. Thank you, Praveen, for the presentation and for your time. I'm going to switch back to Bahasa, if you don't mind. So
Sure.
I'll try to gather up the question that coming up during the session. Let's see if there's any good question that worth bring up. Oke, teman-teman, Pak Yuda, Pak Raymond, apakah ada pertanyaan yang bisa kita ajukan? Mungkin dari teman-teman di sini tadi ada beberapa saya lihat yang mungkin bisa kita bring up.
Di chatbox ada sih tuh, Kang.
Oh iya, kebaca kok di chatbox. Ini sebagian udah dilempar juga nih. Silakan Kang Toren dibacain atau Kang Yuda yang belum dijawab tadi pertanyaannya.
Okay, all right, that's a question. I think it will go to, I don't know, Praveen, perhaps. There's a question here. When we talk about the endpoint management, we think of PCs, laptop, which have a physical form. If it's in the form of a VDI, does that also apply? in this case?
Yep. So when we are talking about VDI, the technology refers to virtual desktop infrastructure, and it is technically managing your virtual machines. So virtual machines will be considered as an endpoint. So till the time the agent is installed, we will be able to manage and monitor those virtual machines just the way you manage and monitor a physical box. There will be no difference in that. So in short, the answer is yes. If it's VDI, it can be done.
Oke, good to know. Jadi begitu ya teman-teman ya, semua teman-teman yang di sini. Jadi untuk apa VDI atau virtual desktop environment nggak ada masalah, tetap bisa di handle sama VSA gitu ya. Okay, there's a second question. Let me rephrase this. Okay, in VSA, if a machine, I believe, is affected by a worm, a virus, or what some sort of spam, does it appear on the graph as a vulnerable? Is it something that came up on the graph?
Now, VSA being a remote monitoring and management solution, when we talk about vulnerability, the vulnerabilities are just going to be the patches that are not installed on the endpoints. It is not going to go ahead and show any type of worms or viruses or malware. If you are interested in getting that information, we do have our partner Bitdefender from an endpoint security perspective, and Bitdefender does integrate with VSA. So Bitdefender, being a security solution provider, would be able to assist in that perspective. From VSA front, the vulnerability is just going to be related to patches that needs to get updated on the relevant machines.
Okay, great. So in a way, there's a third-party solution that are integrated with VSA that work well together that can address this issue, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So another question came up. So can we install it on Linux?
Yes, the agents can be installed on Windows, Mac, and Linux.
Yeah. Is there any particular Linux version that are supported or something like that, John, that you can share with us here?
We support all the Linux versions apart from Mint OS. So if it's Mint OS, then unfortunately the agent will not be installed. We will not be able to install the agents on them.
Alright, oke. Jadi gitu ya teman-temannya Pak Dito, terjawab ya pertanyaannya. Jadi untuk Linux bisa diinstal kecuali Mint OS gitu. Ya, itu ada apa namanya? Ada informasi mengenai integrasi dari Alpha yang mungkin teman-teman bisa klik nanti di situ, mungkin ada informasi beberapa third party partnernya Kaseya, atau kalau di Kaseya bilangnya apa teman-teman?
Apa ya? Ya. Oke, door tuh jadi itu kan ngeblank.
Wah, pada ngantuk nih kayaknya, coba disuruh disuruh betul.
Kurang biasanya barbar nih hari ini.
Mungkin ada lagi pertanyaan dari teman-teman yang bisa saya sampaikan supaya bisa dijawab nih, mumpung ada pakarnya nih, Bapak John Ray di sini, yang mungkin ada pertanyaan yang jelimet mengenai apa tadi tuh?
Apapun.
Ya, soto tadi gitu ya. Tuh cuci muka kata Pak.
Kita tuh cuci muka pakai kopi tuh biar seger. Cuci muka pakai kopi.
Oke. Ada lagi mungkin pertanyaan dari teman-teman mungkin?
Mau nanya boleh?
Ya, silakan.
Boleh silakan, Pak.
Dari Adi, Pak Harvas.
Ya, Adi.
Itu kan tadi ada BSA, terus ada VSA ya, sama IT Glue ya.
Yeah.
Kalau pertama kali diinstal di VM misalkan untuk VSA-nya, terus kemudian kita nggak tahu nih seberapa seiring berjalannya waktu itu kan data makin lama makin bertambah ya, makin growth ada.
Yeah.
Nah terus dengan kondisi yang storage terbatas, apakah dimungkinkan jika melakukan resizing, misalkan pada waktu kita mau install IT Glue ternyata storage yang ada di VSA kurang gitu ya, terus kita resize di sisi VM-nya, apakah dimungkinkan seperti itu ya troubleshooting-nya?
Oke, saya coba tanyakan ya Pak Adi ya, langsung ke Pak Adi
Makasih Pak.
Terima kasih Pak Adi. Terima kasih Pak
Ya.
Adi.
All right. So, John, here's the question. So, the question is, this particular user already has an instance of a VSA, right, on their virtual environment. So, if they would like to like integrate like IT Glue or Forex into their environment, uh, um,
to resize.
yeah, I mean, if they only have, do they could um, resize their virtual machine environment to cope up this integration, or
Yeah,
that
that's not required because Vorex and IT Glue, they will be on cloud. There is no on-prem version of Vorex and IT Glue. So you will be able to integrate VSA with Vorex as well as IT Glue. The only requirement is that VSA IP address should be public facing.
Alright, oke, jadi gitu ya Pak Adi ya.
Ya, noted Pak.
Jawab ya. Jadi untuk saat ini belum ada versi on-prem-nya, hanya available versi cloud untuk kedua solusi tersebut, baik Forex maupun IT Glue gitu.
Oke, makasih Pak.
Yeah. Okay. There's another question here. Can VSA manage Chrome OS or Chromebook?
Unfortunately, VSA can only be installed on Windows, Mac, and Linux. As of now, we do not have any agent that is, we do not have the architecture which is going to be compatible with Chrome OS or Chromebook.
Alright, ya. Jadi itu ya, untuk Chromebook saat ini belum bisa disupport oleh Kaseya. Sejauh ini masih di Windows, Mac OS dan Linux. Linuxnya juga tadi hampir semua Linux bisa kecuali Mint OS. Ada lagi mungkin dari teman-teman? Ayo, silakan. Biar
Mungkin
kita
yang
ngantuk.
mau bertanya.
Diskusi mengenai Holy Trinity ini dari Kaseya ya. Jadi ada Forex, kemudian ada Etikno dan VSA, gimana mereka berintegrasi untuk bisa mengadres ya masalah dari teman-teman semua. Silakan. Mungkin teman-teman gas lainnya mungkin ada yang mau. Ya. Mas Remon, Mas Yuda.
Ada kendala gitu? Bisa di-sharing di sini?
Oke, kalau memang nggak ada lagi pertanyaan, nggak apa-apa. Kita mungkin lanjut aja kali ya, langsung ke apa ya? Kalau nggak salah ada sesuatu yang udah ditunggu-tunggu nih sama teman-teman semua.
Belum dulu nih Kak.
Tapi kalau misalkan nanti sambil berjalan ada yang baru keingetan nih, ada yang mau bertanya nih, langsung di chat box aja ya, nanti bisa kita sampaikan.
Ya betul.
Bisa.
Silakan teman-teman dilanjut.
Oke. Mungkin di next sesi ini ada sharing session nih dari Pak Cipto Handi Utomo dari PT Astra Grafia.
Mungkin Pak Cipto Handi Utomo ini bisa cerita sedikit tentang jadi kita ceritain dulu. Mungkin Pak Cipto Handi Utomo ini sudah menggunakan Kaseya VSA dan BMS. Mungkin bisa diceritakan terkait pengalamannya menggunakan Kaseya VSA dan BMS-nya.
Halo Pak Cipto.
Halo Pak Cipto.
Selamat siang semuanya, Bapak Ibu semuanya. Good afternoon, Previn, John, Pak Jul, Pak Teddy. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ya.
Mana Pak Tandi, sehat Pak?
Sehat.
Udah di kantor atau masih di rumah aja nih Pak?
Kebetulan sudah di kantor, Mas. Iya, Mas Novan. Thank you nih untuk waktunya, sedikit sharing, berbagi juga di sini. Kesempatannya udah dikasih kesempatan sih untuk memberikan sharing sedikit ya. Dari memang pengalaman tadi yang sudah dikatakan VSA sama segala macamnya, kita udah ada beberapa yang memang kita coba. Kebetulan ada beberapa klien, cuman saya nggak mau menyebutkan kliennya karena based on B2B bisnis, kita tetap pegang NDA dari grupnya Astra. Saya nggak berani sebutkan, tapi pada dasarnya beberapa testimoni yang mungkin bisa saya sampaikan adalah ini pengalaman penggunaan Kaseya ini diimplementasi awal tuh saya sempat apa ya menyampaikan dalam hati ya beberapa kali saya di awal itu sempat berdiskusi dengan Pak Jul. Pak Jul tolong bantu saya support saya untuk kebutuhan klien kami segala macam. Awal tuh walaupun Pak Jul dengan yakin dan pede, saya sebagai counterpart ya, let's say kita bilang itu, saya sempat bener nggak nih gitu kan? Ya, tapi harus dicoba. Kalau nggak dicoba, kan di dalam sebuah pekerjaan pasti ada resiko kan, kurang lebih kayak gitu. Di proses itu saya coba diskusi sama Pak Jul, sama tim, bahkan minta Pak coba sharing dikit dulu. Saya perlu meyakinkan teman-teman saya di internal untuk kita bawa produk nih dari sini. Saya bilang gitu kan, disupport. Langkah pertama itu, langkah kedua mulai ke quotation seperti apa. Dari quotation sedikit tektok bolak-balik, tapi bukan TikTok ya, kalau zaman sekarang bilangnya TikTok. Saya mau yang nama, jadi bilang tektok dulu ya kan. Oke, support. Nah, di sini paling kritis nih, mulai instalasi dan segala macamnya kan. Dilalah saya mengatakan benar apalah kadarnya itu dari dari teman-teman Global Asia Sinergi itu very support. Mereka bikin satu grup inisiatif bahkan dari mereka. Biasanya mestinya kita yang butuh tuh kita yang lebih inisiatif gitu ya. Tapi ini saya surprisingly teman-teman gas itu inisiatif bikin satu grup WhatsApp saya dengan tim back end. Di dalam itu semuanya, Pak, saya butuhnya nanti dari customer-nya Bapak kurang lebih seperti apa aja. Mulai dari, Pak, tolong disiapin ya VM-nya seperti apa. Ini mau pakai fisik atau VM, kurang lebih. Wah, itu udah komunikasinya langsung tiba-tiba dari tim saya yang back end. Nggak proaktif juga, jadi lebih termotivasi ya, lebih cepat gitu loh. Itu dia yang saya ngalamin pada saat instalasi itu jadi mudah banget karena proses ada beberapa ribu yang harus kita deploy di endpoint-nya kayak gimana gitu kan. Dengan agent, terus konfigurasi juga mudah karena di customer biasa kalau kita ketemu customer mereka hanya tahu di luarnya saja, tapi details dari pekerjaan mungkin mereka belum sharing kan. Biasanya mereka baru sharing, saya maunya begini Pak, saya maunya begitu Pak, gitu kan. Itu biasanya di kick off meeting tuh. Nah itu ternyata banyak jamat yang ternyata di luar daripada TOR apa RFP, dan so far itu done. Itu dia. Nah itu yang buat saya udah sedikit tenang. Sampai dengan beberapa project saya yang saya jalani di Astra gitu kan, itu BST lancar ya kan. Ternyata ada lagi masalah yang saya hadapin gitu kan. Sempat terjadi ada masalah di customer gitu kan. Nah, dilalah saya kira mati dan saya bilang selesai instalasi pas lagi day to day habis saya bilang gitu kan. Tapi ternyata dilalah hal itu malah customer mungkin karena alert di sini ada supportive segala macam gitu ya. Kita belum dapat dari teman-teman Kaseya, coba kontak Pak, kayaknya ada isu nih Pak, kita harus lihat gitu. Proaktif. Wah, saya di sini saya amazing, benar-benar amazing gitu kan. Jadi kalau saya bisa memberi Global Asia Sinergi nilai itu 10 dari 10.
Wih,
Gitu
siap
loh.
Pak.
Ya, tim ini hebat ya, semuanya tuh berjalan lancar lah dari beberapa proyek yang kita jalanin gitu kan. Dan itu fakta ya. Saya nggak mengalami adanya kekhawatiran besar gitu sampai dengan hari ini. Semua ini tuh proses yang digas dari gas globalisasi sinergi yang membuat segalanya itu lebih mudah dikelola mungkin ya. Saya juga menyukai faktanya bahwa globalisasi sinergi memberikan kemungkinan untuk menggunakan kelebihan hari gitu loh. Maksudnya adalah teman-teman tuh nggak berhitung dengan waktu. Itu dia salah satunya. Kan kalau kita di project mungkin Bapak Ibu di sini yang ikut join di siang ini. Kadang kita mikir ya kalau terlalu prosedural sistem, kadang kita kalau di project susah ya karena dinamika project itu banyak gitu loh. Jadi kalau saya ngelihat di sini paket lengkap ya dari Kaseya dengan Global Asia Sinergi yang ada di Indonesia, karena somehow kita nggak bisa pungkiri keberadaan kenyataan kita cross territory kepulauan itu agak sulit, nggak semudah di luar negeri. Kalau let's say kita bilang kita compare sama negara tetangga kita yang hanya kecil saja, kita yang kecilnya mereka sama dengan Jakarta gitu kan. Kalau kita luas banget seperti apa, mereka tahu teman-teman Global Asia Sinergi gitu. Udah produknya bagus, teman-teman gasnya nih bagus punya nih gitu loh ya kan. Jadi lengkap, paket lengkap saya bilang gitu. Jadi kalau saya bilang boleh ucapkan terima kasih buat teman-teman Global Asia Sinergi yang selama ini juga telah support terus dan sekarang pun masih berjalan sama produk Kaseya yang in totally apa ya, dapat saya katakan mudah untuk digunakan. Saya pikir customer pun akan happy sih. Prosesnya cukup bagus. Mungkin kurang lebih itu yang bisa saya sampaikan untuk yang hari ini kepada Bapak Ibu semuanya.
Oh, oke Pak Edi, terima kasih untuk sharing session yang
Makasih banget tuh Pak.
Makasih Pak. Makasih Pak.
Terima kasih
Semoga
Pak Handi.
nggak ada pemikiran yang apa-apa nih ya. Soalnya bagus banget nih. Kita juga deg-degan nih.
Deg-degan nih.
Deg-degan. Belum bercakap apa-apa nih. Makasih banget Pak Handi sudah hadir dan sudah mau memberikan testimoni atau pengalaman pemakaian produk Kaseya dari kami.
Ya.
Oke, bisa dilihat. Oke, Kang Bima.
Nah, dilanjut kali ya.
Mungkin dilanjut untuk sesinya untuk Alfa dan tim akan ingin mau
Oke, terima kasih Pak Hadi atau Pak Cipto nih saya manggilnya Pak.
Pak Cipto boleh, Pak Hadi boleh, sama-sama.
Pak Hadi mungkin di sini kalau ada teman-teman yang mau, boleh nggak nih Pak kalau ada teman-teman yang mau nanya-nanya nih Pak ke Pak Hadi nih Pak.
Silakan.
Ya teman-teman mungkin di sini kalau ada teman-teman yang mau mau nanya-nanya mungkin ya boleh. Pak Adi udah kasih lampu hijau nih buat kita kalau ada yang mau tanya-tanya pengalamannya selama ini dengan Global Asia Sinergi dan Kaseya. Silahkan kali aja ada yang penasaran gitu ya, masa iya sih Pak Andi ini tadi kayaknya reviewnya cemerlang banget gitu loh, mungkin
nilainya 10 nih Kang kita.
ada 10 dari 10 loh tadi
10, ya.
Saya gemeteran Pak denger ya Pak.
Nggak ada pesan sponsor kok pastinya. Real kalau itu real yang kita alami.
Ya, terima kasih banyak Pak untuk sharingnya. Buat teman-teman kalau misalkan yang mau ditanyakan silakan ditanyakan. Kalau memang nggak ada lagi yang mau ditanyakan, mungkin karena mengingat waktunya juga udah lumayan ya, udah 1,5 jam gitu ya.
Iya Kang, betul Kang.
Aja kali ya teman-teman ya, kita lanjut aja ke acara berikutnya. Silakan.
Selanjutnya ada
yang ditunggu-tunggu nih sepertinya.
Ada apa tuh Mon?
Ada apa ya ini ya? Mungkin ada di
kuis. Kita kuis deh.
Kuis nih.
Biar nggak ngantuk ya.
Nah, ini nih, ya kan?
Yang dinanti oleh teman-teman nih.
Gitu kan? Yo, siap-siap teman-teman semuanya. Kita mau kuis buat teman-teman semua yang ada di sini yang mau ikutan kuisnya, itu caranya sama
seperti tadi yang simple polling
atau ke URL-nya.
Ya, bisa akses untuk kalau misalkan yang dari laptop bisa akses dari www.menti.com, masukkan kode yang ada di bawah 44332478 atau dari handphone teman-teman nih bisa langsung di-scan.
Pak, kata Pak Dito nih, ada jebakan Batman. Nggak ada Pak, nggak ada. Ini pure benar-benar Pak, pure bercanda.
Pure bercanda sih sebenarnya. Pertanyaannya susah-susah sih sebenarnya.
Saya harus bilang Bapak Pak Reza Pak Dito kayaknya agak kecewa nih kali ini ya, karena jebakan Batman-nya makin parah Pak.
Bukan lebih baik tapi makin parah ya Kang Ebi.
Yo lagi teman-teman.
Baru 29 orang yang join.
Yang lainnya yang mau
join.
Mungkin diingetin lagi tadi apa aja sih yang bisa didapetin dari kuis ini, coba teman-teman.
Di kuis ini kuis ini untuk pemenang pertamanya itu mendapatkan top up voucher OVO sebesar 500.000. Pemenang kedua 300.000. Pemenang ketiga 200.000. Ya, itu nanti berupa uang domino ya? Apa monopoli tadi?
Monopoli kan?
Uang kertas nih, uang kertas domino.
Via OVO top up nanti Pak.
Bukan monopoli ya Pak?
Bukan.
Oke, masih bergabung total baru 34 orang, mungkin yang belum, yang mau juara 1 mungkin yang tangan-tangannya cepat.
Mungkin pakai buat bisa pesan di saya.
keyboard.
Ya Shopee.
Oke, baru 36 orang.
Oh,
Kita tunggu nih 1 menit lagi.
Ayo.
Ikonnya lucu-lucu ya. Ada yang pisang itu.
Yuk, baru 37 orang, yuk.
Wih, tangan kaku nih udah lama nggak kuis katanya tuh.
Oke, 30.
Ya, Pak, dilemesin, Pak. Stretching dulu, Pak.
Lemesin.
Paling terakhir ini kemarin.
Ya, ada di 37 orang. Bentar lagi.
Dikasih waktu aja, Mon. Ayo, Mon. Biar
Ya, ini 15 detik lagi kita akan mulai kuisnya.
kasihan teman-teman yang lain yang udah join.
Ya,
betul. Ya udah gak sabar mau ngetik.
Gak sabar mau ini nih jawab.
Keburu gemeteran ntar. Jangan lupa sebelum mulai kuisnya diseruput dulu kopinya, Pak.
Oke, kita mulai ya kuisnya.
Oke, kita lanjut.
Oke, kita lanjut. Nah, yuk.
Ya, siap-siap tangannya.
Siap nih, Pak. Apa nama? Ya, begitu.
Ya, pertanyaannya itu apa nama platform Kaseya untuk membantu teman-teman IT yang melaksanakan tiketing
dan service desk?
Ya Allah.
Ayo 15 detik, silahkan.
5 detik lagi.
Power glue katanya.
2, 1, ya.
Ya.
Oke.
Dedet.
Voltus tadi jawab tuh.
Ini gara-gara Pak Randy nih, mungkin langsung pada glue.
Oke,
ada yang jawab 12 ya.
Pertanyaannya.
Kejebak, ada yang kejebak.
Oke, poin. Ya, yang
paling tinggi itu ada di Pak Yongstar.
Paling cepet nih, kayak pakai bot nih.
Iya, pakai bot nih.
Poin.
Ready untuk
900. Masih tipis ini poin-poinnya nih.
1 poin doang itu.
Iya, selisihnya 1 poin.
Belakangan biasanya. Oh, Pak Dito belum nongol nih, Pak Dito.
Oke. Next. Nah,
pertanyaan kedua nih.
Mari persiapan. Oke, cepat-cepatan. Apa fitur dari Kaseya VSA untuk melakukan remote support in the background?
Ayo.
Apa nih ya?
Ada audit,
agent prosedur, ada live connect.
Audit kan bisa sama ya, nge-remote tuh audit juga kan sebenarnya.
Oh, bisa.
Bisa banget.
Bisa banget. Agent prosedur juga bisa banget kan?
Bisa.
Langsung menyalakan
remote TV. 25 nih, bacakin bener nih.
Berarti konsen.
Ada yang jawab agent prosedur.
Oke.
Kita lihat.
Wih. Paling tinggi ada di
Oke,
Wah, Pak Reza, ngepur. Ngebalap nih, buaya, logonya buaya.
Buaya nih Mas Reza nih, langganan nih. Oke, di next.
Ayo, pertanyaan ketiga.
Oke, ready ya semua?
Siapakah special guest untuk speaker pada hari ini? Nah, lo siapa tuh?
Dan Yuda ini.
Nah, bukan. Kita
konsen.
Ini konsen. Itu ada.
Itu siapa itu? Ada namanya itu.
Biska itu.
Kan harus klik cepat nih 3, yuk 2, 1.
Wah, langsung cepet. Raymond dan Yuda itu siapa yang jawab? Kita cuman underdog di sini.
Oke, yang siapa nih masih memimpin nih?
Wah, kayaknya masih ini nih. Masih tetap.
Set.
Waduh, beda masih 1 poin nih.
Masih
tipis banget
1 poin nih.
1 poin aja nih.
Iya. Oke, di next di pertanyaan nomor 4. Oke. Apa kegunaan dari IT Glue? Apa ya?
Apa tuh?
Apa nih?
Ngelem.
Nah, di IT Glue sendiri nih.
Ya, katanya tuh.
Kita lihat nih jawaban dari teman-teman apa nih?
Yes.
Waduh.
11 orang deh.
12 orang terjebak
apa nih?
Itu yang bisa remote support ya, beda ya.
Oke, kita.
Oke, pertanyaan apa nih? Oh, masih ini ya, leaderboard ya.
Aduh, Mas Reza.
Waduh, Mas Reza nih
Mas
kayaknya
Reza
nih.
ini.
Tersalip.
Aduh, dipimpin oleh Mas Khairullah.
Khairullah.
Ya. Oke, di next pertanyaannya.
Masih ada kesempatan satu kali lagi.
Terakhir nih.
Terakhir.
Ya, ini
hati-hati terjebak.
Saya hitung mundur nih untuk pertanyaan terakhir di 3, 2, 1 untuk dapat poin lebih cepat. Nah, apa topik pembicaraan pada hari ini?
Nah, lo.
Nah, tadi itu di awal nih. Apa ya untuk topik pembicaraan hari ini?
Di video ada, di slide ada.
Di slide ada, di semua ada.
Ada.
Apa ya?
Apa ya?
Sedikit jebakan ini. Oke. Masih.
Ya, kita lihat.
Siapakah pemenangnya? Aduh, Mas.
Kemana pemenang? Udah nyerah dulu. Waduh. Selamat.
Kedua
pertama ya, Pak.
Teman-teman.
Thank you Pak. Selamat Pak Khairul.
Yang kedua itu Pak Haris Amri.
Dan
yang
ada
ketiga,
Pak Budi Hermawan.
Ya.
Oke. Nanti
lanjut.
tunggu ya Pak hadiahnya.
Selamat Pak. Selamat Pak.
Selamat. Oke, lanjut.
Terakhir tapi belum terakhir banget nih Bang Novan.
Apa tuh?
Aduh.
Masih ada lagi?
Belum terima kasih.
Oh, belum terima kasih.
Belum ya?
Masih ada.
Terima kasih dulu.
Oh, coba. Kuis lagi.
Kuis lagi atau kuisnya lebih berat nih sepertinya. Bisa di-share dari Kang Novan.
Belakangan aja kalau itu. Kita closing dulu ya.
Oke, mungkin dari sini kita ucapkan terima kasih untuk teman-teman yang sudah bergabung kepada di Ngobar kali ini, untuk John and Raven and Alpha. Thank you for your presentation with us.
Ya, terima kasih lagi buat audiens juga ya Pak. Di sini udah mau hampir buat ngobrol. Terus buat ini kita mau ngingetin aja kalau buat dapetin OVO-nya itu tetap harus isi feedback form dari di asiasinergi.com itu ya Pak. Nah, jangan lupa itu.
Oke, terima kasih buat teman-teman semua yang udah datang. Link untuk feedbacknya saya kirim di chat ya.
Chatbox ya, iya siap.
Oke. Mungkin bisa diisi dulu nih feedbacknya sebelum ke
penghujung acara nih.
Penghujung acara yang paling meriah nih, kuis. Waduh.
Kuis lagi dong, bukan kuis dong.
Pertanyaan lebih berat atau apa?
Nggak ada pertanyaan.
Oh, nggak ada pertanyaan ini.
Semuanya punya kesempatan untuk memenangkan.
Oh, adu
tapi hanya untuk khusus yang ada di sini ya. Kalau yang udah daftar tapi nggak masuk, nggak masuk
bisa
namanya.
Ya.
Iya. Terima kasih semua buat teman-teman yang sudah datang, rekan-rekan yang sudah datang. Terima kasih sudah mendengarkan dan hadir di ngobar kami yang kali ini yang membawa produk Kaseya. Ya, itu hanya itu sih, mungkin yang lain mungkin bisa menambahkan.
Kang Novan.
Ya, apa tuh?
Selain yang bakalan bentar lagi ini, ada apa lagi nih Kang Novan yang teman-teman di sini bisa nanti?
Oh iya, aku ya, oke. Jadi buat teman-teman yang hadir di sini ya, abis ini mungkin berkepikiran, wah kayaknya sesuai nih dengan kebutuhan perusahaan kami nih atau perusahaan saya nih, misalkan seperti itu. Datanya sudah ada di kami, para peserta. Jadi kalau misalkan ingin melakukan POC ataupun melakukan lebih lanjut, lebih deep dive lagi tentang produk-produk yang sudah dibawakan hari ini, bisa hubungin di Kang Lauren sini, ada beberapa.
Halo, iya, salam kenal Pak semuanya.
Ada Kang Nurjati juga di sini. Bisa kontak-kontaknya, nanti kita bisa kasih trial dan penawaran menarik lah, mungkin harganya bagus,
penawaran menarik khusus,
supportnya lebih oke lah gitu. Pokoknya kita servis paling oke lah untuk teman-teman yang sudah hadir di sini gitu. Kita kasih license trial juga mau.
Ya, mungkin nanti teman-teman sini penasaran begitu ngelihat tadi kan, dijelasin sama Bapak John tadi sama Bapak Pravin. Ah, seru juga nih kayaknya kita nyoba-nyoba gitu kan. Boleh nggak sih kita
Betul,
coba?
betul.
Boleh sekali Pak. Kita nanti silakan langsung hubungi aja Kang Laurentius atau Kang Nurjati. Nomornya ada di layar situ. Kalau memang tertarik nanti kita sediain trialnya Pak buat bapak-bapak, buat teman-teman semua di sini yang mau coba produk-produk tadi gitu ya. Silakan. Oke, Kang Novan lanjut Kang Novan.
Oke, kita ke ujung acara nih.
Penghujung banget nih Bang Novan.
Oke. Bentar ya.
Waduh, ini roda apa ini?
Tapi nggak ada lagunya saya. Nggak apa-apa ya.
Oke.
Disetelin.
Aman.
Oke, kita mulai aja ya.
Putar-putar ya.
Oke, 1, 2, 3 untuk memenangkan Dotos hari ini.
Roda gue nyaris dapet.
Nah, itu Mas Reza. Aduh.
Ya. Oke. 1, 2, 3.
Oke, kita putar.
Siapa nih yang dapat nih?
Oh, Raymond Kurniawan sepertinya yang dapat auditan.
Nggak ada namanya dong.
Oh, nggak ada.
Nih. Nah lo.
Halo.
Ini.
Nah,
kena nih Pak Indra Lukman.
Kang Indra Lukman.
Ada di sini Bapak Indra Lukman? Halo,
Halo, Bapak Indra Lukman.
bisa open mic Pak?
Pak
Ada nggak
Indra
ya?
Lukman.
Apakah masih ada?
Panggilan
Halo.
pertama.
Panggilan pertama
Ya.
nih.
Yang pertama untuk door prize
Kang Indra Lukman.
Pak Indra Lukman.
Panggilan kedua.
Panggilan kedua.
Langsung aja dihitung.
Oke, kita hitung sampai 5 ya. 1, 2,
3, 4,
5.
5.
Ya.
Gugur ya.
Sanggup.
Gugur. Ayo kita mulai lagi.
Kocok lagi.
Oke, kita undi lagi.
Nama nggak ini?
Kita undi lagi.
Oke, kita undi lagi ya. 1, 2, 3.
3.
Ya. Oke. Siapa nih yang dapat?
Nah lo. Wah, kelewatan itu.
Nah.
Aku saat.
Iya.
Syarifudin, Pak Adnan Syarifudin.
Pak Adnan Syarifudin ada di sini. Bisa open mic silakan.
Apakah ada?
Halo.
Halo.
Halo Pak Adnan.
Pak Adnan.
Halo Pak Adnan.
Adnan Syarifudin. Yang pertama.
Panggilan pertama.
Wah,
Ini kayak lelang jadinya.
Dilis sudah keluar kayaknya. Dilis sudah keluar.
Pak Adnan Syarifudin.
Dilis sudah keluar
Yang
kayaknya.
kedua.
Oke.
Oke, kita gugur lagi ya.
Gugur.
Aduh, ini Pak Reza masih ini nih. Masih menunggu.
Masih
nih.
berharap nih.
Iya, betul.
Hadir.
Pak Reza. Siap Pak Reza.
1, 2, 3.
Oke. Dapat nih. Aduh. Pak.
Ya.
Adi
Wahyono. Ada Pak di sini?
Hadir Pak.
Wah,
hadir.
Aduh, selamat Pak Adi.
Selamat Pak Adi untuk
Umroh ya Pak, umroh.
Waduh. Dapat kurban Pak, sapi Pak. Perasaan.
Selamat ya Pak Adi Wahyono. Nanti
Pak Reza sepertinya kecewa.
untuk minta data-datanya ya Pak Adi.
Ya, terima kasih.
Oke, terima kasih. Oke, teman-teman.
Pura-pura.
Rekan-rekan sini terima kasih ya sudah datang di
Ya.
acara ini. Mohon dibantu feedback-nya. Oke, salam.
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 Terima kasih ya Pak.
Terima kasih semua.
Terima kasih semua.
Terima kasih semuanya.
semuanya. Izin pamit.
Sampai ketemu lagi ya Pak di event Ngobar selanjutnya.
Terima kasih Pak, terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Oke, kita close ya. Bye.